Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another video. So this is a video that I really did not want to make, but unfortunately I have to. The channel is called Fish Diary, so that means I have to cover the good as well as the bad things about this hobby. So unfortunately there has been some bad news about my Japanese dragon moray. So I'm going to explain exactly what happened, and this story actually does have a happy ending, so that's good news. But it's still, sad, and I will explain to you what happened. All right, so like I mentioned in the intro, there has been some bad news about the dragon moray, some terrible news, unfortunately. This is something that I didn't expect at all. And I think most people who buy not only dragon moray or any moray would never expect that to happen. But I wanted to share it with you because it can happen. It's very rare, but yeah, you buy a fish, an expensive eel like a dragon moray, and then suddenly things go south and you don't know why until it's almost too late. And in this case, unfortunately, it was too late. But this story does have a happy ending, which I will share, of course, towards the end of the video. But yeah, let me tell you exactly what happened. Alright, so what you're looking at right now is footage from my last video. If you haven't watched that one, it was about me purchasing 3 new eels to live in my 1,000-gallon moray eel system that houses a giant moray, a tessellata moray, and a viper moray. And the 3 new eels that I bought were a zebra moray, a green moray, and this Japanese dragon moray. And these 3 eels were purchased from a local fish store which uses a certain supplier called Sea Dwelling Creatures, which is one of the biggest suppliers in the whole United States, and they usually have a very good reputation. But in this case, they sold me, this eel to the fish store, which then sold it to me with a serious injury that nobody knew he had. So you can actually see the injury in this video if you know where it is. And because it's pretty much impossible for you to know, and for me back then to know, I'm actually going to point this out right now. So he has a very serious injury on his belly. And I will, explain exactly what that is. This is something I've never come across before, and neither did the local fish store. They were shocked when they heard about that. So let me explain exactly what this is and how serious that was. So the next couple of clips are unfortunately in vertical position because I filmed them with my cell phone. I didn't know how serious that was back then. Otherwise I would have grabbed my regular camera. But I basically saw the dragon moray starting to swim erratically, as if something was wrong with him. Almost like he was drunk. And if you look closely again, I pointed out the injury on his belly earlier. I was able to actually get a close-up of it. You will see it in just a second. But basically he had some sort of shiny object in his belly. I wasn't sure if that's a swim bladder or what exactly that was, but it was pretty bad. Look at this shit from Sea Dwelling Creatures. They sold me a $750 eel with the hook in its belly, and he's almost dead. Unbelievable. This hook is so deep in the eel's body, I can't even get it out. It's gonna die a very painful death, unfortunately. But again, they should have inspected the eel before they shipped it out. I just pulled out the hook. Wow, look at this. So the eel is still alive, but yeah, chances of him making it is really low right now. Alright, putting the eel into a quarantine system. Like I said, he is still alive. He is fighting for his life, but it's not looking good. Unbelievable. Alright, it is now the next day, and as you can see, it's not good news. This is not the kind of video I want to make, but it is what it is. Have to show you what's going on, and The eel is very stiff, so he has died. Gills are not moving anymore, and yeah, going to take him out, and we have a closer look, and then yeah, this is pretty much going to be it. All right, let's wrap up this video. So here we have the eel on the table, and let's take a closer look again at what exactly has killed this eel. So we see a pretty substantial wound here, and obviously this is completely new to me. I mean, the reason why I like Moray eels, besides their majestic appearance, is that they're very, very hardy. So an eel can live anywhere from 10 to 30 to 40 to 50 years. So this is completely unexpected, and this is something that you usually deal with when you have regular fish. You have to replace them every couple of years, or sooner sometimes, depending on the species. But the eels usually last a long time. They're a pet for life almost. So yeah, this is very very new to me, and can't really wrap my head around this right now. But what killed this eel is this traumatic injury he had. So this is the hook that I pulled out, and basically a fisherman in Japan had this eel on his hook, and instead of removing the hook, he just cut the line and tossed the eel back in. So that's what he did, or she. And then this eel was caught by whoever supplies the fish to sea-dwelling creatures in Los Angeles. And then they passed the fish over to the aquarium store where I bought the fish from. So just to give you a little backstory, the aquarium store I bought this eel from, they don't usually deal with this kind of stuff, so they had no place to hold the eel. So what they did was they just told sea-dwelling creatures to basically bag up the eel in a huge bag and put him in a huge box and seal the box. And then they basically the fish store then picked up the eel, and then never opened the box, never looked inside the box, and just passed that box to me at the end of the day. So the local fish store is not at fault at all. They never saw the eel. The box was sealed. I never saw the eel until I opened the box, and then obviously because eels are always on the bottom, I inspected the eel from all other sides but the bottom, and never even have thought about turning an eel on its back to inspect the belly. And he didn't really swim in a weird way at that time, so up until last night. So I did not see this at all. But I do believe that if you charge $750 for an eel, that you should, as the supplier, inspect the eel before you hand them to your local fish store, who will then pass it to their customer. So I think that can be expected for an eel of this, for a fish of this price, or any fish that they sell. So I think they dropped the ball on this one. And yeah, unfortunately for eels, they have a no DOA policy to rub more salt into my wounds. So there's no way for me to get my money back. I paid using Venmo, so there's no refund option. So it's basically $750 down the drain. But I'm more sad about the eel having passed prematurely, because had they inspected him, when this wound was, relatively small, they could have removed this without issue. I mean, I've seen it before. This eel could have survived. He could have lived, 30, 40, 50 years, grown really big, and he would have had a nice life. So I think it's really unfortunate. So one thing, though, that something like this gives me an opportunity for is to look at these teeth a little bit more closely, because this jaw is very similar to that of the Viper Moray, and obviously everyone is very scared of how the Viper Moray looks. And this eel has a very similar jaw, very a lot of teeth that are small and long. And I did try to pry his mouth open, but I couldn't, and one of my fingers got stuck into in one of these teeth. So the teeth are needle sharp. So that is absolutely true, and you would not want to get bitten by a dragon moray. I also can tell that, you know, when he bites you, he cannot really release his bite either. Somebody would have to pry open his mouth, and that's very dangerous. So yeah, try to avoid getting bit by your moray eels, especially these fangmouth morays with these long, small razor sharp teeth. So that's not something you want to be finding yourself in. And yeah, there's not much else for me to add to this. Very sad day, you know, very unfortunate, but it is what it is. This video is made for raising awareness for you if you are thinking about buying a fish from a local fish store that uses sea-dwelling aquatics as their supplier. Please be very careful. It should be expected, you know, that they inspect their fish before they pass them on to whatever local fish store they'd be doing a business with. So all I can tell you is, you know, ask your local fish store who their supplier is, and if it's sea-dwelling creatures, ask them to, you know, inspect the fish before they, you know, give them to the fish store, or just use a fish store that uses a different supplier altogether. All right, I'm going to lay this poor guy to rest. I'm not sure if I will try to buy another one anytime soon. They do look absolutely amazing, and the other morays I have in my tank, they are all of the biggest variety, so 5 feet and longer. So if I do want to get an eel like this again that only grows to 3 feet but does get really chunky, I have to do it soon, because I don't want a big size difference, you know, between eels. So the other eels right now, they're all 3.5 feet or smaller. So this eel was actually 22 inches. And so if I can get a replacement like this sometime soon, I will probably then get one. But like I said, $750 is a lot of money. There are stores that try to charge me $1,200. And so that gives you an idea how crazy the pricing is. And then, you know, out of nowhere, you know, the eel suddenly starts swimming erratically. You find out that it has a hook in its belly. You cannot, you know, save the eel, and then, you know, eel is dead and all your money is gone as well. So just be very careful when you're dealing with sea-dwelling creatures in Los Angeles. And other than that, I hope the next video will be more positive, and then yeah, maybe it will be about another eel, but I'm not sure. Alright, so like I mentioned in the intro and early in the video, this story does have a happy ending, and that is because the supplier sea-dwelling creatures decided to replace my Japanese dragon moray eel with the one that you see in the video right now. So that is good on them. Only thing that sucked was I had to drive to Los Angeles again, 2 hours there and 2 hours back. But sea-dwelling creatures did the right thing. They replaced the eel free of charge. And this eel is just about the same size, looks very healthy. Obviously I closely inspected this one, and he had no injuries whatsoever. So yeah, I'm going to be covering his journey in the next video. So until then, I hope you know, you're not feeling too bad about the one that died. I mean, I am very sad, but you know, there was really nothing I could have done. I was not equipped to perform any major surgery, and didn't even know what was wrong with him until it was too late. So it is what it is. It's part of the hobby. Sometimes something like this happens, even though it's very rare. And yeah, so thank you again for watching. I hope I see you in the next video, where we'll be covering more about the guy that you see right now. He's doing very well, and I can't wait to show you his new aquarium.